All right, 49ers faithful, let's dive into what's going on in San Francisco, because there's a lot to unpack. The biggest headline, of course, is the quarterback situation, because in football, that position dictates everything. Brock Purdy has been dealing with not just one issue, but two: a turf toe problem and an AC joint sprain on his non-throwing shoulder. Even with those setbacks, he's been back on the practice field in a limited role, and the signs are looking promising for him to return against Jacksonville. For the offense, that would be a massive lift. Purdy has proven to be one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, not just by making the right reads, but by keeping this offense moving with confidence. His health is the main storyline heading into the weekend, and if he's good to go, that completely changes the outlook of this matchup. Now, what makes this situation even more intriguing is the way the team has performed in his absence. Mac Jones stepped in and didn't just hold down the fort. He gave his team a legitimate chance to win both games he started. Throwing for nearly 300 yards in back-to-back weeks is no small feat, especially for someone who has bounced around the league after falling out of favor with other franchises. Against New Orleans and Arizona, he showed poise, accuracy, and a willingness to spread the ball around. Yes, there was a costly fumble and a bad interception, but the larger picture is that he kept the offense flowing. He looked comfortable in Kyle Shanahan's system, and maybe more importantly, he earned the trust of his teammates and the fan base. When a backup quarterback can walk into a huddle and the rest of the group believes he can lead them, that says a lot about his preparation and mindset. It's also worth noting that Jones isn't fully out of the woods physically either. He banged up his knee in the Arizona game, the same knee he tweaked earlier in the preseason, but he practiced midweek, and the reports indicate he's on track to suit up if called upon. That's a big relief for San Francisco, because if Purdy suffers a setback, at least they know Jones is capable of running the show. Still, let's be clear, there is no quarterback controversy here. Brock Purdy is the starter. He's the better player, the one who gives this team the best chance to win long-term, and everything the front office and coaching staff has said reinforces that belief. The real test now is what happens against Jacksonville. The Jaguars are no joke on defense. They rank near the top in several categories, forcing turnovers at a rate we haven't seen from them in years. 9 takeaways in the first 3 games, 7 of those being interceptions, is a staggering stat. They're not just opportunistic, they're aggressive and disciplined. Josh Allen on the edge is a force with a pressure rate north of 14%, and Trayvon Walker continues to develop into a well-rounded pass rusher on the opposite side. That duo alone creates headaches for offensive lines. And when you pair them with a secondary that's already produced multiple turnovers, it becomes clear why Jacksonville has climbed into the top 10 in both points and yards allowed per game. So what does this mean for the 49ers? It means they have to protect the football, plain and simple. At the NFL level, if you win the turnover battle, you win the vast majority of games, and against a team like Jacksonville that thrives on takeaways, that margin becomes even more critical. San Francisco also has to clean up its issues in the red zone. This has been Achilles' heel going back to last season. When the field shrinks and you can't rely on the run game to push through, it exposes the offensive line. Christian McCaffrey has had 13 carries inside the 20-yard line and has managed only 7 total yards. That's not just inefficient, it's alarming. The guards in particular have struggled, and against a front like Jacksonville's, that weakness can turn into a major problem. One thing that did stand out during Jones's starts was the distribution of the football. Against the Saints, 8 different players caught a pass. Against the Cardinals, 7 different receivers got involved. That kind of balance keeps defenses guessing and makes it harder for them to key in on just 1 or 2 weapons. Whether it's Jones or Purdy under center this weekend, continuing that trend will be vital. It's not about leaning on one superstar to carry the load, but about using the depth of this roster to attack from multiple angles. That approach has worked, and it's part of why the team has managed to keep winning despite the injuries. And speaking of injuries, the situation with Nick Bosa changes everything on the defensive side of the ball. The superstar pass rusher is set to undergo surgery for his ACL, which is devastating news. Losing him for the year means the defense has to adapt, and all eyes now turn to Bryce Huff. He's no longer the complementary piece, the Robin to Bosa's Batman. Now he's being asked to take on double teams, to disrupt plays consistently, and to become the focal point of the pass rush. Early signs have been encouraging. Huff's burst off the line, his explosiveness, and his ability to win one-on-one matchups have stood out. His advanced metrics are among the best in the league so far, ranking in the top 10 for win rate and pass rush grade. That's not just good, that's elite production. For general manager John Lynch, trading for Huff already looks like a steal, and now that move becomes even more important. He's the guy tasked with filling the void left by Bosa, and so far, he has embraced that challenge. When you can close out games with big plays, like a strip sack against New Orleans, it gives the defense confidence that they still have someone who can finish. Watching him against Arizona, the quickness and relentlessness were obvious. Now, it's about sustaining that level as offenses shift more attention his way. This is where the 49ers find themselves, balancing optimism with concern. Optimism because Purdy looks close to returning, because Jones has proven to be a reliable option if needed, and because Huff has stepped into a bigger role with confidence. Concern because the offensive line hasn't held up in critical moments, because red zone inefficiency has lingered, and because losing Bosa changes the entire identity of the defense. All of these storylines converge as San Francisco prepares for Jacksonville, a team that's not just good on paper, but one that has played with energy and discipline for the first month of the season. The question becomes simple. Can the 49ers execute at a high level against a defense that thrives on punishing mistakes? Can they protect the football, establish some balance on offense, and give their quarterback, whether it's Purdy or Jones, enough time to work? And defensively, can Huff and the rest of that front generate enough pressure to disrupt a Jaguars team that's brimming with confidence? This game has the feel of a test, the kind that reveals a lot about where a team stands early in the year. When we look deeper into the challenges facing San Francisco, the offensive struggles in short yardage situations cannot be ignored. It has been one of the biggest talking points dating back to last season, and it continues to haunt the team this year. Every time the field tightens inside the 20, the running lanes disappear. This is not because Christian McCaffrey has lost a step. Far from it. He remains one of the most dynamic weapons in the league. The problem lies in the interior of the offensive line. Defenses are collapsing the gaps, winning leverage battles, and forcing San Francisco into difficult third downs that should have been easy conversions. Against Arizona, for example, the guard play was particularly shaky. When you combine that with a defensive line that excels at penetration, the result was stalled drives and wasted opportunities. It is an issue that has to be fixed if this team wants to be considered a legitimate contender all season long. That brings us back to the Jaguars and why this matchup feels so significant. Jacksonville's defense has been aggressive in all the right ways. They take chances, but they are calculated chances. When they bring pressure, it is often disguised well enough to confuse quarterbacks. Their secondary has been opportunistic, with cornerback Jordan Lewis already creating 3 turnovers on his own. You can feel the energy that defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile has injected into this group. Coming from his time with Green Bay, he has carried over a philosophy rooted in discipline and hustle. The Jaguars are playing like a team that believes it can go toe-to-toe with anyone, and that confidence makes them dangerous. San Francisco, though, has faced adversity before. They have been built with depth in mind, and that depth has already been tested. The emergence of Mac Jones as a reliable option proves that. His poise in the pocket, his ability to hit different receivers, and his leadership on the field have been refreshing to see. It is rare to watch a player who had seemingly fallen out of the league's good graces suddenly find new life in an offense perfectly tailored to his strengths. He may not be the future of the franchise, but in these last 2 weeks, he reminded everyone that he still has the tools to succeed at this level. His teammates have rallied around him, and that speaks volumes about the culture in San Francisco's locker room. But now all eyes turn back to Brock Purdy. He has taken his lumps physically, yet his progression in practice points toward a return. Watching him navigate through the rehab process, you can see the competitiveness in him. He wants to be out there. His limited participation sessions have shown enough to make the coaching staff believe he can handle the workload against Jacksonville. for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. That is exactly what they want. Their franchise quarterback stepping back onto the field in a pivotal matchup. If Purdy plays, expect the offense to look sharper and more balanced, especially with his command of timing routes and quick releases. Defensively, losing Nick Bosa remains the dark cloud hanging over everything. When a player of his caliber goes down, the ripple effect is massive. Offensive coordinators game plan differently, quarterbacks breathe a little easier, and linemen do not have to constantly worry about being beaten by one of the best edge rushers in football. That is why Bryce Huff's role becomes so critical. In the first few weeks of the season, he has shown flashes of dominance that make you believe he can handle this responsibility. His pressure numbers, win rate, and sack totals all put him among the top performers at his position. The challenge, however, will be consistency. Now that teams know he is the focal point, double teams and chip blocks are coming his way. This is the moment where he must prove he can adjust and still create chaos in the backfield. What stands out about Huff is his burst. His first step off the snap is lightning quick, and his hand usage has improved drastically since last season. You can see the confidence he plays with, the belief that he can win on any given rep. That kind of mentality is contagious for a defense. Even though losing Bosa is devastating, Huff's rise gives San Francisco hope that the pass rush can remain a strength. The reality is that the 49ers defense has always thrived on pressure, and if Huff can continue producing at this level, it prevents opposing quarterbacks from sitting comfortably in the pocket. Meanwhile, the secondary will need to tighten up against Jacksonville's passing attack. The Jaguars have been disciplined but opportunistic, and their receivers have shown the ability to stretch the field. The 49ers' defensive backs will be tested not only in coverage, but also in maintaining discipline when Trevor Lawrence extends plays. Without Bosa's relentless pressure, coverage responsibilities become even harder, so Huff and the rest of the line must do their part to limit the time Lawrence has to throw. In the bigger picture, this game feels like a measuring stick. San Francisco has built momentum early in the year, but the combination of injuries and lingering offensive issues make this a test of resilience. Can the offensive line rise to the challenge and give Purdy, or Jones if he plays, the protection they need? Can McCaffrey finally find some breathing room in the red zone? Can the defense adapt to life without Bosa and still make game-changing plays? These are the questions hanging over the team right now. What gives the 49ers an edge is their culture. This is a group that has bought into Shanahan's vision, a group that trusts each other and refuses to fold under pressure. We saw it in how they responded when Purdy went down. We saw it when Jones stepped up and delivered. And we saw it when Huff began to seize his opportunity. These moments build belief, and belief is often what carries teams through the grind of a season. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling in the NFL world, and if whispers turn into reality, the San Francisco 49ers are about to make one of the boldest defensive moves of the season. Sources suggest that the 49ers have set their sights on Danielle Hunter, the elite edge rusher whose presence could instantly transform their defensive line into one of the most feared units in the league. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders claim talks have already heated up behind closed doors, fueling speculation that San Francisco is serious about dominating the opposition in 2025. Hunter, known for his explosive speed, off the edge, and uncanny ability to disrupt quarterbacks, would bring a level of intensity to the 49ers' front seven that few teams could match. The buzz around Levi's Stadium is palpable, with fans and analysts alike imagining a defensive front anchor by Hunter alongside Nick Bosa and Arik Armstead, a nightmare scenario for any offensive coordinator. Sources hint that the 49ers management is not only ready to offer a lucrative deal, but is willing to make it a franchise-defining signing, signaling a no-compromise approach to building a championship-caliber roster. The timing also makes sense. San Francisco has been searching for that extra spark to solidify their defense after last season's near misses. Hunter's potential arrival could shift the balance of power in the NFC West, creating a domino effect that might force rivals like the Seahawks and Rams to rethink their strategies. Rumor has it that Hunter's representatives are intrigued by the idea of joining a team with serious Super Bowl aspirations, a franchise culture that prizes discipline, and a fan base that thrives on high-stakes drama. Of course, in true NFL fashion, until contracts are signed and announcements are made, everything remains speculation, but the chatter is loud. Social media has erupted with mock rosters, highlight reels, and predictions, as if the mere possibility of Hunter in red and gold has already sent shockwaves through the league. One thing is clear. If this deal comes to fruition, the 49ers' defensive line won't just be good. They'll be downright terrifying. For now, fans will have to watch, wait, and hope that this rumored acquisition isn't just a passing blip, but the beginning of a defensive revolution in San Francisco. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.